Good morning, welcome back to the last stream of 2023. It is the New Year's Eve special today, and this is the last stream of 2023. What a year it has been, and hopefully we have 2 years, 2024 and 2025, coming up, which are going to see massive gains for all of you. So before we get into it, a big good morning to Kishan, Hidden Agendas and Mags. I hope you're all doing very well. And I also agree with Hidden Agendas when he says that I hope 2024 is as good for you as I hope it is going to be. Good morning, Marianne. I hope you are well. I'm just seeing who else is in here. Tom is in here. Sensei is in here. There's an awful lot of people in here. I can't read. IP Man, Happy New Year to you all. I believe probably Tariq is in here. Andy will be in here. The usual crowd are here today. Happy New Year's Eve as well, Fran. Happy New Year's Eve. Well, we've got a show. I'm going to try and stick to the show. To be honest, I was just going to go off the rails and start ranting about crypto for an hour. But I don't think you want to hear that today. So what we have on the menu today, we're going to go through some unexpected news about the ETFs, and that is the sheer amount of seed capital that Bitwise has to invest in the ETF to start it off. $200 million. We're going to go over that and explain just how big that is compared to others. Now, I had a request on Telegram a few days ago to have a look at a couple of projects. One of them was IMX. I went and had a look at IMX last night. It's been a while since I looked at it. So what I'm going to do with IMX is I'm going to go through some news about it, show you the website, show you the white paper a little bit, not too much, and then I'm going to go and look at the price action of IMX. I expect big things from it. Then we're going to go through Link. Big fan of Link on here. As you'll know if you've followed, I have a $15,000 to $1 million portfolio that contains Link and ICP, which is absolutely pumping off the charts this morning. Ethereum to 5K, we're going to have a little look at that. When are they expecting it to hit 5K? We will have a look at the charts as well, just to see. But this time, I'm going to show you, I try and bring a few different charts into the show every week. I'm going to show you the Bitcoin Ethereum chart. I think I brought it up a couple of weeks ago. I'm going to do it again today to show you just how well or poorly Ethereum has done against Bitcoin this year. We're then going to look at the fact that venture capital funds have dropped off this year. I know why. It's blatantly obvious to everybody why, but we're going to go through that. And then there will not be a second trial for SBF. If we even get to this article, we will cover it. I'm in utter disbelief about this. If there was ever evidence of this man paying excessive amounts of funds to the Democrat Party, it is the fact that he is not going to have a second trial. So that's what we're going to do today. I'm going to try and keep a better eye on chat today. It's very difficult. We've got kind of like 4 screens, and I try and see what people are saying. As usual, we have an awful lot of spam in chat. One Love Crypto, Kishan is here. Hello, Kishan. Happy New Year To you, sir, in Sri Lanka, I hope you're doing well. Who else is about? Okay, hello. Doctor, hello. Welcome to all of you. Right, I'm going to get on with the show. I can't see the chat very well, even though I try. There's just too much text. So where are we? Bitcoin is back up at 42.7. It's had a little bit of a pump in the last 24 hours. Ethereum, the same. Ethereum is up. The market cap, total market cap is up. And most importantly, Bitcoin dominance has gone back over 50%. I believe yesterday it was at 49.9%, which for me, at this stage of the market, is quite shocking. So back over 50%. Expect when this pump comes for Bitcoin that I have been calling for a few weeks now, when this pump to 48 to 50,000 comes, we're going to see a 53% dominance on Bitcoin because it's just going to take everybody by surprise. Remember, we are potentially less than 2 weeks away. We could even be a week and 2 days away from the announcement of the ETF. And I am going to go on about that a little bit, probably in tomorrow's show, about it's good for you, but is it really good for crypto? Is it really good for Bitcoin in the long term? I think we're either going to cover that tomorrow or I'm going to make a video about it maybe next week sometime. But we're going to go through it again. Anyway, let's have a look at the 24-hour gainers. So ICP, I have this in my portfolio. It's done exceptionally well. But bear in mind, this was my worst performing coin. Let's have a little look on here. This was my worst performing coin all year. So I bought about here. I don't know what that is, $5, something like that. I bought about $5-ish. It's done nothing all year. And even up to here, I was saying it's my worst performing coin of the year. And then all of a sudden, we have a pump, small retracement, massive pump. Now is not the time to be buying ICP at this moment in time. The market cap is up over 6 billion. You don't want to be touching this coin, in my opinion, until there is a small retracement. But these things can turn on a sixpence. ICP, as I said, my worst performing coin. Algorand is now my worst performing coin. Algorand had a similar run up. Now, I don't know if you also remember, I was talking about, last week, in fact, I was talking about how Matic and BNB were the two coins that haven't moved in correlation to everything else around them. Look at what happened last week. Those two coins just randomly pumped out of nowhere. Why is that? I don't believe it's a coincidence. I do believe that there are whales playing games in the markets. Now, some people will say, oh, that's a tinfoil hat approach, or whatever it might be. I highlighted those two coins because they've done nothing all year. And then 3 days later, in fact, I think it was 3 days later, both coins pump. Quite extensively pump. And they're the only two coins to do that. ICP was my worst performing coin and the only coin where I was in a fairly deep red position, and then magically pumps towards the end of the year, so now everything I own is in green. Why does that happen? Is that a coincidence? I don't think so. Look at the way the markets work, and we try, and I'm not saying we're very good at it. Good morning, Marija. I can never pronounce that name, very sorry. We don't try and follow the tornado. We try and catch the coins before they do these mad pumps, because you see a lot of influencers, they'll come along and they'll do this and they'll go, okay, today we're going to talk about ICP, Teller, Aster and Mina, and then time, and that isn't necessarily the way that they're going to help you make money. You should be buying in the red. I'm not saying these coins in particular, but you should be buying in the red. What hasn't performed very well over the last 30 days? Forget this one. Forget this one. Look at the growth. Look at coins where they haven't performed very well over the last 30 days. Are they due a pump? Possibly. If you look, there's only really 6 coins there that haven't done very well this year. Ton Coins probably had the worst year out of everybody here. Casper's had a massive blow off top. Thorchain, which I know Brogan likes to talk about, Thorchain is down 18%. These are the kind of coins which at some point are going to pump. Let's have a look at the year to date. I mean, we've obviously got Bonk up there, Injective, Teller, which I've made a video about. I don't believe this is real. I don't believe this is real value at all. I believe this is artificial. But what about at the other end? What do we have that hasn't performed well all year? And is there a reason why it hasn't performed well all year? ApeCoin hasn't performed well. Why? Because their metaverse hasn't been launched yet. Does that mean it's a terrible project? No, it means they failed to deliver what they've said to they're going to deliver. Could it have a fantastic blow-off 2024? Well, if they turn around in January and say, right, the metaverse is going live in March, and we're going to include 50 NFT projects in this launch, then this coin is going to rip. Look at the market cap, 600 million. It's not a huge market cap. Could this have a run up? Yes, absolutely. Will I be buying any? No, it's not in my portfolio, but look at the psyche of why these coins are down here. Chiliz is a project that's mainly based on providing coins to Manchester City supporters, PSG supporters. It's like Socios is the name of the platform, and they provide tokens that allow you to win stadium tours and these kind of things. Is that going to be a slow burner? Possibly. EOS, not a fan. Terra Classic, not a fan. And then look, you're down into stable coins. So you've really got potentially one standout coin there that hasn't done anything all year, which is ApeCoin. And now we know the reason it hasn't done anything, but it has Yuga Labs behind it. They have, I think, over $1 billion of cash behind them. It's too big to fail. They're going to launch a Fortnite-esque metaverse. It's already been tested, but they haven't delivered. So the coin has been punished. Also, there is a lot of sell pressure because of the token unlocks, but still, I'm not condoning you going out and buying ApeCoin, by the way. I'm just using it as an example of don't chase these coins necessarily. These are not the coins that are necessarily going to have a fantastic 2024. These are the coins that have had a fantastic 2023. There's a difference. Bonk coin has had a huge run up. It can't possibly do another 20x from here next year because that would give it a $16-17 billion market cap. Not going to happen. Not going to happen. Injective, could Injective have a run up from this? Yes, it could still go up. Teller, I believe it to be a scam. Not the project, but the price action. There's reasons behind why each coin is going to get there. Could Solana have another fantastic run up? Yes. Do I think it's going to do another 10x? Possibly not. Possibly a 5x from here. Possibly a 3x. You've got to remember now where it is in the charts. It's the fourth biggest crypto. Could we see Solana pushing Ethereum next year? Yes. But just always take into account the market cap of these coins. Conflux, again, look at Conflux. Look at the size of the market cap. How much money it would take to move Conflux compared to moving Solana? A lot less. So smaller market cap coins are going to move more than the larger market caps, but they're still all going to improve. They're all going to float with Bitcoin. If Bitcoin does a 5x from where we are now, for example, that gives it a $4 trillion market cap. So everything else underneath will follow, in my opinion. And that's something to bear in mind, is when you're looking at comparing Solana with XRP, not much difference. You could say both could do a 5 or a 6x. Some people say XRP will do a 10x. That's fine. But when you get down here towards, let's have a look. When you get down here towards these sub $1 billion coins, think about where are they going to move next year. Is Decentraland going to launch a new update on its metaverse? Potentially. Could it then become a $10 billion coin? Possibly. That would do a 10x the price. So pick your winners, but don't expect each of them to perform in the same way. Don't expect every coin in your portfolio to 10x. Some might 25x. Some might 50x, some might 5x. That's why you have a diversified portfolio. That's why we say have Bitcoin, have Ethereum, have Solana, have XRP, but then have a bag of coins. Maybe you're into AI. We've got a couple of coins on this channel that we love, which is Fetch and Singularity. Some people try and pick between the two. Personally, why? Put 50% of your AI pot into one and 50% into the other. Or if there's a third AI coin you like, divide it equally amongst the three. Potentially one of them will 20x, one of them will 10x, and one of them will 5x. But your average portfolio might 15x, for example. So just a thought before you go into next year to remember not to look at these coins and think they're going to do the same thing next year. It's a very simple trap to fall into. Bonk is not going to do this again. Injective is very unlikely it's going to do this again next year. It will still perform well, but I don't think you're going to see a 2800% move next year in this. Render has 10x'd in a year. How far could that go? Could that go to a $17 billion project? Potentially it could. Could Conflux go to 3 billion? Potentially it could. But just bear in mind to always check the market cap. Don't just look at this price here and think, well, if I buy Bonk, it's going to go to $1. Because buying Bonk and sending it to $1 would give it an $800 trillion market cap, which is, of course, never going to happen. So, spent too long on that, but I just wanted to try and get an idea into your head to don't chase the tornadoes because they're only going to wreck you. You buy into Bonk at the top and it comes down 80%. It's going to be a long time before you get that money back. So we're going to move on and talk about the ETF yet again. It's all over the news. I can't avoid it. So I'm going to try and pick the best articles I can each day to talk about it. We are really close, maybe a week or two away. Bitwise has got a $200 million seed fund for spot Bitcoin ETF. In the updated S1 filing, it is 20 larger than the 10 million seed investment recently announced by BlackRock for its own spot Bitcoin ETF. If you believe for 1 second that BlackRock only has $10 million worth of Bitcoin, you are very foolish. There is absolutely no way on earth that BlackRock only has $10 million of seed investment. In fact, there was an article a few weeks ago highlighting the fact that BlackRock has been buying Bitcoin all year via a trust that it owns. So maybe they have officially declared $10 million, but I can guarantee you right now BlackRock will have hundreds of millions of dollars, if not $1 billion+ of a Bitcoin in its account via its trust, which also happily will move into the BlackRock ETF within a few weeks of its going live. So that doesn't detract, however, from Bitwise having this, because each of these numbers collectively are going to surge the price of Bitcoin over a relatively long period of time. Don't think we're going to $1 million Bitcoin in April. It's not going to happen. Could we see $60,000, $70,000 as I've said before? Yes, I think we could. But don't moonboy thinking that you hold 3 Bitcoin and suddenly you're going to have $3 million in the summer next year. It doesn't quite work like that. It's going to take a long time for these ETFs to gather momentum and build up to being $100, $200, $300 billion funds. It's going to take time. It doesn't happen overnight. They're not going to go live in January. They're more than likely going to go live in February. That's another month. Then we have rate cuts maybe in March or April. That's going to put more money in. Then we've got the halving in April. That's going to put more money in. Then we're going to have the supply shock maybe by the end of next year. Then 2025, we're going to have the massive run up. with all the headwind of a new president of America, Gary Gensler will be gone, low interest rates, ETFs, supply shock, blow off top. That's the theory. Doesn't mean I've got a crystal ball that's going to happen, however. So they've got 20x BlackRock on paper. We know it's false, but it doesn't matter. Now, I knew that would happen. That's why I paused. There we go. So Bitwise has not yet named its authorized participant for the ETF, unlike BlackRock, who named JP Morgan. Just remember what Jamie Dimon was saying 2 weeks ago in the press. If I was in control, I would shut down Bitcoin because it's only used by scammers. That's what he said. Yet BlackRock, who are probably going to have the biggest Bitcoin ETF in the world in a year or two's time, are going to use JP Morgan as their AP. Do what they do, not what they say. Everybody on crypto Twitter talks about this. HSBC have been panning crypto for the last 2 years. They're fully going to go full on into crypto next year. You look at Visa and MasterCard, full into CBDCs, full into using Solana and Ethereum, full into using it for transactions, connecting up with XRP. But you listen to what they say. Oh, you know, we try and block as many crypto transactions as possible because it's fraudulent. So do as they do, not as they say. Don't listen to what they're saying, because what they're saying, there's a very old joke. How do you know a politician is lying? Their lips are moving. That applies to people in finance as well. They're not going to tell you that Bitcoin is going to be the next big financial product, because you'll go out and buy it, you'll pump the price up, and they'll have to spend more money on it. What they'll try and do is suppress the price as much as possible. And if you don't believe this happens, go and look at the fines associated with the price of silver and how the price of silver has been manipulated for the last 20 years by the big banks. It goes on. It's not conspiracy. It's not tinfoil hat. It happens. So JP Morgan are going to be the AP. A senior ETF analyst at Bloomberg believes the disparity in seed funding between Bitwise and BlackRock could affect the early stages of competition. I don't agree. The up-and-coming decision by the SEC is an important factor. Bitcoin is currently at 42.5 and has been in this range that Brogan talked about yesterday. Brogan actually said it was between 42 and 44. We're going to have a quick look at the price in a second. The approval of these ETFs could open the door for a broader range of investors. Now, again, I'm not going to go on about this too much, but we have a dilemma. One is, Bitcoin is financial freedom. Be your own bank, control your own money. That's what we're going to have, and that's what we're going to have in a year's time. What we don't have is we don't have a mechanism for institutional investors to buy Bitcoin. We don't have a mechanism to allow people to put Bitcoin into their retirement fund. We don't have that. But it doesn't mean we can't have both. And that's, I think, where some people are missing the point. Some people are saying we shouldn't have these financial institutions involved in crypto. They're going to take over. They're going to ruin crypto. They're going to push all these little people out of the way, and they're going to control crypto. That's never going to happen. What they are going to do is bring a lot of financial might to specific assets. Where there is a concern, and a big concern, is on proof of stake mechanisms. Because if BlackRock, Fidelity, and the other big financial institutions buy enough Ethereum, they can change the direction of Ethereum. That's the issue. But as far as bringing liquidity to the market and pumping your bags and making you and your children a lot richer than they are today, we need financial institutions, no matter how evil and corrupt you think they are, we need them to offer those products so people can buy the Bitcoin and push the price up. It's a necessary evil, in my opinion, and one which, if we could get away without having them involved, then great, but we can't. It's a fact of life. And if you think any differently, then maybe you need to go and look at Monero and some of these privacy coins, because Bitcoin is going to be the golden egg that all of these people want. So we don't need to read any more about that. We know that Bitwise has a big chunk of cash. And remember, $200 million worth of Bitcoin is still a fairly big chunk of Bitcoin to buy. It's not to be sniffed at. I mean, yes, it's the amount that MicroStrategy buys in a couple of weeks. But, you know, it's the seed, it's the start. Happy New Year, Kishan. Happy New Year to you. Right, very quickly. We're not going to spend too long on this. Let's go to the daily chart. I am going to die on this hill. That's what I'm going to say to you about this. I am going to die on this hill because I am absolutely convinced that we are winding up. And I think we are winding up to hit this $50,000 mark. And wouldn't you know, that's the 10th of January, which so happens to be the deadline for the ETFs. So we have hidden bullish divergence. We have, in my opinion, some kind of bullish pennant going on here. And this price action plays out all the way to decision day. Now, is that a coincidence? Probably as much as a coincidence as the only two top 10, top 15 coins to not pump this year to pump on the same day outside of everything else pumping. You could argue that. Maybe I'm completely wrong and maybe we do this today and maybe it happens today. Who knows? But I do think we are winding up for a massive move. And like I say, confluence is something that we look for. So confluence is where you use multiple different timelines, multiple different ways of looking at things to try and find a common story for what's going to play out. I think we're going to hit $48,000 to $50,000. I'm going to stand by that. I was confident of hitting $50 on Solana this year. I was confident of hitting $30,000 on Bitcoin. I am confident we're going to get to $48,000 to $50,000. And I think we're going to do it in the next week. I was expecting it to be by today, being at the end of the year. I was expecting the pump, but this options expiry really did deflate. We were here and we came down, and that's simply what happened. And now we're starting to slowly recover. So Bitcoin, any day now, I am expecting a move, and I'm expecting us to hopefully break this $44,000 mark, because that's what's holding us here. The $44,000 mark, we've bounced off it a couple of times, as Brogan keeps mentioning. Yesterday on the stream, he was pointing out the fact that we were oversold and we were likely to come up. We've come up a good $600, $700 since the stream. So that's all I'm going to say about Bitcoin for now. We're going to move on and have a look at IMX. And before I do, I'm going to drop a box so you can all get some free crypto. Remember, wherever you are watching, we would greatly appreciate you following us. Just press the follow button. It doesn't cost you anything, and it makes a whole world of difference to us. We're aiming for 100,000 followers by, I'd like to say, February. I think we're about to break 80,000 followers. I think we may have broken 80,000 followers today. So we've only got 20,000 followers to go. It sounds a lot, but you've got to remember we only had about 500 followers in May. So in 7 months, we've gained 79,500 followers. I think by February, we could hit 100,000. So if you could smash that button while I drop this box, that would be great. Right. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to drop that. That should last about 10 minutes. Just click on whatever the instructions are in front of you, and you should be able to claim that. There we go. So IMX, I was asked to look at a couple of projects. I picked IMX to look at. So we'll go through the news. I'll show you the website. I'll show you the white paper. And then we will go into the price action of it. So Immutable X, IMX, receives a neutral rating on Saturday, which was yesterday, I believe. Is it time to jump ship? Immutable gets a neutral rating. The crypto is down 3.25%, while the broader market is down this. We know about this. Price levels. Immutable is currently trading at $2.20. It is 13% off its 5-day high, and it's below support. We're going to look at that with current support at $2.25, resistance at $2.37. It's potentially in volatile territory as selling pushes the crypto's price below recent support. So we're going to go through the price action in a minute, but the commentary at the minute is that you should sell. Now, let me very quickly bring up the chart and tell you, before I go into a little bit more about it, whether I agree or not, because I think I do. Yeah. So when you see this kind of price action, it is normally not a good idea to go and buy the coin. And that's just my opinion. We're going to go through this chart in a second, but you got to remember there's two parts of a project. I covered Teller 2 days ago, made the video 2 days ago. There's two parts to that video. One is the project and the other is the price. They can be mutually exclusive. The reason being is the project isn't such a bad idea. The project is an okay idea. It's a decentralized oracle. Where there is a problem is where the price goes from $5 to $275. And it happens on centralized exchanges with cleverer crypto people than me saying that this stinks. It smells of manipulation. It smells of price manipulation. And because of that, I'm never going to tell you to buy a coin that's pumped this much. Never going to tell you to do it. Unless it's a micro cap coin that's gone from $10 million to $100 million. And then I think it could go from $100 million to $1 billion. Then yes. But that's not the case with Teller. Teller hasn't got the news to warrant the price action. With Immutable X, it's a valid project. But you should always wait for a retracement, in my opinion, when buying into coins like this. So very quickly, we are really running out of time. I don't even know why I put this much into the stream today. So Immutable X is a scalable gaming and NFT solution. They have Gods Unchained using it, I believe it's mentioned on here. It connects an awful lot of projects together. It's got WAGMI, which if you've watched us before, we're not fans of this at all. Kiraverse, Block Lords, Undead Blocks. There's a whole raft of games on here, and they are good looking games. Ember Sword as well. These are good games. These are not going to call them AAA games. I'll call them A+ games. Illuminum as well. Gods Unchained. So when I spoke about Blazell, and I made a video about it 3 or 4 months ago, I talked about adoption and what is going to drive gamers to use your blockchain, because Blazell is a gaming blockchain. Why are you going to use Blazell when Immutable X has all of these games using it? Why are you going to use a chain that isn't utilized fully? You're not. You're going to go where the games are, and that's where Immutable X comes in. Everybody that uses these games, all of these games that use this platform, everything builds an ecosystem which adds value to the token price. And that is where you get your value from. Why is Solana undervalued? Well, in my opinion, it has the same level of activity as Ethereum. It has a higher volume on NFTs. It's cheaper. The only thing that Solana doesn't have is the revenue because Ethereum is so much more expensive to operate on that Solana doesn't have the revenue of Ethereum, which will have a knock-on effect to development. But the point of the matter is, should Solana only be a $44 billion project, whereas Ethereum is a $250 billion project? In my opinion, Solana should be valued higher, maybe 120, maybe 130, and maybe Ethereum should be valued slightly lower, although switching to proof of stake, making it a deflationary project, maybe the price hasn't been built in for that yet either. But the point of the matter is, you look at the value of a chain based on what uses that chain, and Immutable X is absolutely outstanding. I haven't made a video on it. One of the reasons I don't make certain videos on certain projects is they're going to get lost. So our channel, as I said before, collectively has 80,000 followers. If I make a video about Immutable X, I'm going to compete with all the channels that have 2, 3, 1.5 million followers. My videos are never going to get seen, so I have to focus on videos in markets where there's less competition. Immutable X is outstanding. As a project, it's outstanding. I am not going to say a bad word about it. In fact, what I did do as well, I'm going to bring it up very quickly, is I went through the white paper. I think it was Mags that asked me for this. So I went through the white paper and went through the fees, the staking, the tokenomics, the unlocks, checked it all out. This is a tier 1 token. This is a great project, and it's going to be a massive, massive success. And the reason it's going to be a massive success is because they've made it so easy to integrate. They have a wallet that you can use to allow your users of your games to very quickly create a wallet, a non-custodial wallet, and interact. It's amazing. I'm not going to say a bad word about it. And I'd love to make a video. I just don't think enough people would watch it, because we need adoption as much as these other blockchains need adoption. So that's why we need people to follow us. If nobody follows us and just watches us on our daily streams and we make a video, nobody knows we've made a video because nobody's followed us. Yeah, it was Mags. So like I said at the beginning of this, there's 2 elements to a project. One is the price and one is the project itself. Now, if we run the fib levels on this project, what we will notice, especially on the daily charts, let's go from weekly to daily, what you'll see, if I just make this a little bit clearer there. Right, so what happened? Well, if we were watching this project at, let me just very quickly draw this. So let's say before we saw any of this, happen, and I'd reviewed this video down here at 45 cents, I would be saying to you what a token this is. And 2 days ago, I said on the stream, the red zone is where you buy. Okay? It's the safest zone. The caveat is, if you're investing in a rubbish project, this red zone will be broken and it will come down and down and down and down and down. Okay? But if you believe in the project, and let's say I reviewed Immutable X, I'd be like, this is amazing, this is fantastic. I'd be like, buy here, buy all of this zone. The further down towards this line you get, the more you buy. That's where you buy. Then what happens is, you have these resistance points where it can't break. But as you can see, 3rd time's a charm, and it broke. And where did it come up to? It came up to this fib level here, which is $2.50. Now, what is likely to happen? In my opinion, I think, and again, another caveat is, if Bitcoin goes to $48,000 next month, ignore what I'm about to say. This should start to retrace. and it can retrace to one of two levels. It can come down to $2 or it can come down to $1.68 before moving up. So your kill zone in terms of where you buy should be here. Now the one indicator I haven't got on here is this one there. So, oops, wrong one. Give me a second. Bull market support band, there we go. Right, so look at the bull market support band, or the moving average. What happened? Well, we were below it, we couldn't break it, we couldn't break it. We did break it, we had a brief rally, we came down. We bounced, we couldn't break it, we bounced, we couldn't break it, we broke, okay? I say it all the time, bull market support band, if you're underneath it, it's like a sheet of ice that you're stuck under in a lake. If you're above it, it's like being on a trampoline and it helps move you higher. So the bull market support band is probably going to do this in that kind of general direction. So I would expect something potentially like this to reach the bull market support band before going higher. That's what I would see happening on this. So if you are a fan of Immutable X, I would look at anywhere around $1.70 to buy this. We have previous kind of, I wouldn't call it support, but previous price action at that price. So $1.75 for me is where I would look to accumulate IMX if I was going to buy it. If this project decides to ignore everything I've said and carry on going up, where is it likely to get to? Well, if it does something like this, then the next move up is probably going to be $3.35 if it ignores everything I've said. That's a 50% move up. But you're a long way from this bull market support band, and you nearly always come down to find it again because that's your support. Like I said yesterday, it's like walking up a set of step ladders. If you go up too quickly and you break that step ladder, you come down to find your support, which is here. So the more this shoots up, the more it's going to come down. Like we said about Bitcoin, you want to see this kind of price action, right? Because all of these areas here create a kind of a support, a confidence level in that coin. Bitcoin, where are the confidence levels? There's loads of them now. 41,000, 40,000, 38,000, 36,000. There's loads of support levels for Bitcoin now. What about this coin? Where's the support level for this coin? Well, for me, it's here at $1.70. That's its support. So if it suddenly shoots off and gets to $3.35, $3.50, where do I think it's going to come? I think it's going to come straight back down to here. So separate the project from the price action. Projects can be overhyped. Speculation can take over. The price can pump up. It can go beyond where the project is currently able to support that price action. Wait for a retracement. If the retracement doesn't come and we miss out on this coin, it's not the end of the world. There are 1,000 other projects, maybe another 100 projects that you could invest in to get your 10x. Don't worry about missing every single project. The point is to catch good ones, and the point is to catch them. Like I said before, we're looking to buy coins here. That's where we want to buy the coins. Cardano, XRP, I was telling everybody to buy them here. They've now 3x'd, 2.5x'd. That's Cardano and XRP, that's top 10 coins. This isn't a top 10 coin yet. It's a brilliant project. It's going to do exceptionally well. And I am sure in the future the price is going to be $10, $15, $20. So if you're buying it for the next 5 years, by all means, go ahead and buy it. If you're buying it for a short-term gain, maybe the next year or so, maybe wait for this area here to go and buy the token. That's what I would say. Now, again, I'm not an expert. This isn't financial advice. It's just my opinion on where I think this project could possibly go. Now, we are going to skip the some of the articles because I've just completely overrun again. So I hope that helped, Mags. Thanks for talking about Immutable X. Like I asked, yeah, there's the other projects I'm going to look at over time. What I've got to be careful of, because we stream on different platforms, I can't cover projects that are not sold on those exchanges. So if it's like an altcoin, like Gecko, I can't talk about that on the stream. I can talk about Immutable X, Ethereum, Solana. I can talk about all those coins, but I can't talk about coins that aren't listed yet. So I have to be respectful to where I'm streaming. So how Vitalik Buterin's roadmap update may push Ethereum to a new all-time high. This is a short-term price gain they're talking about here. So $5,300 driven by liquidity indicators and up-and-coming enhancements to the blockchain. Raoul Pal predicts ETH price could hit all-time highs in the first half of 2024, buoyed by the prospect of an Ethereum ETF. Vitalik Buterin's updated roadmap includes significant advancements and measures to combat economic centralization. So the few things on this, we've covered the Ethereum ETF. What's it going to do to the price? It is going to push the price up. Same thing happens to Bitcoin. We'll ignore that. What did Vitalik say about making changes to the way that validation works? He gave 3 scenarios. The problem is, and the problem was before he even created this, he allowed the people with the most money to buy the most Ethereum and create massive centralized units of validators. That's not what we want, Vitalik, and that's not what should have been built. And I said this before, Cardano has the best staking system in the world by far. Charles knows it, Vitalik knows it. Vitalik is going to move some of the benefits of Cardano to Ethereum, and that's going to improve the project. What else did he do? He slashed the fees to all the layer 2s, so that's why all the layer 2 prices have pumped. Optimism, Arbitrage, and covered all that before. Ethereum, however, needs to have a balance. Like I said before, Ethereum makes a lot in fees, Solana doesn't. Ethereum has to keep a certain level of income to generate enough money to pay the developers, so it can reduce the fees, can't abolish the fees. Also, we're on proof of stake. We don't want to damage too much the value of Ethereum because people stake it wanting those 3 or 4% APRs. So they're not in a bad position. They're still the top dog as far as smart contracts are concerned. They've got all the layer 2s. Polygon, don't sleep on Polygon. I talk about it all the time. It's my favorite layer 2 because it's done everything. It's sitting there in its comfy chair watching Optimism, watching Arbitrum, moving on and doing what it's doing. Polygon did this a year ago. Polygon has got the collabs. Polygon's got the NFT solution rolled out. Polygon is ready-made. Optimism and Arbitrum are playing catch-up in different ways. Arbitrum is trying to connect to Cardano, by the way, to allow Cardano players to play on Arbitrum. Optimism has gone in a different direction. They're all going to work well together. But Ethereum's price action, if you think about it, it struggled to break $1,900. It struggled at $2,000. It's struggling at $2,200. And one of the reasons that, or one of the things that you need to watch is Ethereum is the second biggest crypto behind Bitcoin. But if you'd have bought Ethereum, let me just try and get this to fit on the screen. Okay. If you'd have bought Ethereum in September last year, so that's 14 months ago, if you'd have bought Ethereum, you would have lost massively against Bitcoin over the last 14 months. So if you put $10,000 into Ethereum a year ago and $10,000 into Bitcoin a year ago, your Bitcoin bag would be 40% higher today than your Ethereum bag. So not comparing Bitcoin to USD or Ethereum to USD, comparing Ethereum to Bitcoin. So the question then is, I mean, this followed a pretty nice pattern, probably going to do the same thing again. ETH dominance against Bitcoin has been falling, or not ETH dominance, the ETH valuation against Bitcoin has been falling. Up here, it was at about 0.08. So you would need 12.5 Ethereum here to buy 1 Bitcoin in September last year. As of today, you would need 19 to buy a Bitcoin. So you've lost 50% of the value of your investment, like for like, between Ethereum and Birmingham. Happy New Year to you, Jazz. I hope you are doing well. So look at that and say to yourself, why didn't I just put $20,000 into Bitcoin at the start of the year? In fact, why didn't I put all of my investment into Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Bonk at the start of the year? The reason you didn't do that is you haven't got 2020 hindsight vision. You didn't know that. You build yourself a portfolio, and you build yourself a portfolio of Bitcoin, Ethereum, Cardano, XRP, whatever it might be. But where is the opportunity? Well, the opportunity is where this line is. And this line is the bottom of the Bitcoin ETH pair, which goes back to June last year. Look what happened. It hit this and it spiked up. Now, I'm not expecting that to happen today, but at some point we're gonna see a bounce out of this range. I think we're going to see a bounce out of this range. Since at least September, this decline here was caused by the Bitcoin ETF. Could we have seen a breakout if that Bitcoin ETF hadn't have been announced? Possibly, but it doesn't matter because it did happen. So at some point, maybe in March, maybe in April, we're going to see a war of Ethereum versus Bitcoin. The Ethereum price, fueled by an Ethereum ETF, is going to push it where? Bitcoin being approved for an ETF is going to push it where? This is going to be a really interesting chart to watch. A really interesting chart. If you think the Bitcoin Ethereum pair has only been this low twice in its history. So where is it going to go? It can't keep going down. Can't keep doing this and go to zero, because that's not going to happen. So as far as I'm concerned, watch this chart. It's the BTC ETH chart. It's been on a decline for the last 14 months. I think we're going to have a breakout at some point, but when? Who knows? That's an interesting chart to keep an eye on. Now, we've got not long left of the show, so we're going to skip forward. I'm not going to do SPF. SPF doesn't warrant this time of the year. Happy New Year. I hope it's a good New Year, Jazz, sorry. I hope it's a good New Year. I hope also that Santa brought you everything you wanted. So I do. Right, we'll move on to this article very quickly, which is, I'm going to keep it quick because we're going to run out of time and I need to do a quiz. So VC funding sees a 68% decline in 2023 compared to the 33.3 billion in 2022. Why is this happening? Because the projects are built. Very simple. Don't need to read any more of the article. That's what's happened. Last year, 2022, year before 2021, I know we had what happened, but ignore that. You put money into projects to get the projects built. The projects get built, the VC money comes out. We're not ever going to see a continual increase in VC money in crypto just yet. Also, AI. VC money is going into AI. So we have projects that are being built. It's taken 2 years to build them, 1.5 years to build them. You don't continually need to pump money in because they're built, they're live, they're operating. AI is the next golden goose. So VC capital goes where the opportunities are. This is a massively bullish sign for crypto. It means that crypto has come out of the speculation phase and is going into the adoption phase. It's good news. It's not a negative, this. The other positive, which we don't have time to cover, is although we've seen $2 billion worth of hacks this year, the frequency of hacks is about 50-60% lower than it was in 2022. So although the hacks are bigger, bear in mind the price has increased, although the hacks are bigger, the actual frequency of them is lower. So we have less hacks, more fully built out projects, which means the VCs don't need to invest. There is still VC money coming in, don't forget, but it's now moved on to AI. And then when it's done AI, it will move on to the next thing. VC money is like the miner bird. It's the first indication that something is being seen as a success. So when VC money went into crypto in 2021, remember what I said before, do as they do, not as they say. They were pumping money in 2 years ago. Next year, it will be 3 years ago, and that's when they'll take their profits. They'll then move on to AI, which they started this year. Their money might come out in 2025 and move on to the next thing. VCs are the first people to turn up and leave. They turn up at the party at 7 o'clock when the party starts at 8, eat some vol-au-vents, have a glass of wine, and they're gone by 9 o'clock when most people are still arriving. That's what they do. That's how they make their money. They come in at a penny and 2p, and then they sell those tokens at 50 cents, $2, $5, and then they run off. So don't worry about this. It's bullish news. The same way that the actual frequency of hacks is falling, that is also bullish news. And now we are going to move on with the quiz, which means I need to say goodbye to the people watching us on another one of our channels. If you could do me a favor and hit the like and subscribe button, that would be greatly appreciated. I'm going to put the stream on pause for 20 seconds while I turn one of them off, and when I come back we will do the quiz. Oh, and also before you go, we are back tomorrow at I don't know if we're going to do 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock tomorrow. We're going to do a New Year's Day show tomorrow. So if you've got nothing else to do, on New Year's Day, come and watch us. Right.